Welcome to the Power to Flourish podcast, where science meets the art of a beautiful life. I'm Dr. Andrea Line, positive psychologist, giftedness expert and coach, and modern-day spiritual godmother to brilliant, deep-feeling women. This isn't just another self-help podcast. It's a sanctuary, a sacred space to come back to yourself. Each week, we'll explore the emotional experience of gifted, sensitive women and what it means to live a life that feels as beautiful as it may look. Because flourishing isn't a luxury, it's your birthright, and your life is waiting. This is the Power to Flourish podcast. Welcome back to the Power to Flourish podcast. I am your host, Dr. Andrea Line. And I'm just going to tell you right up front, today's episode is going to have probably a different vibe to it. I am feeling a little different energy. I actually woke up at 4 a.m. with all of these things in my mind clearly needing to get out of me. And I thought, should I just get out of bed right now and hit record? But lucky for you, I have waited until I had my coffee and I'm wide awake and I am coherent, but I really feel like I have a message. So I am not coming in today with an outline of any sort. So forgive me ahead of time if I am not quite on track in a structured way. Today's message is different. And for some of you, you're going to hear this today and it's going to be like, this is what I needed to hear right now. And for some of you, you might already think, I'm not sure this is what I want to listen to today, and it might not be for you. And that's totally okay. I know that there is at least one woman out there right now, under the sound of my voice, that is ready and needs to hear the message that I feel like I need to deliver today. And so with that, I'm just going to jump in. Why do I feel, I was reflecting, like, what is it? What is it? What am I feeling? And, last week, if you haven't listened to last week's episode, I highly recommend that you do. I share a little bit about what I'm sensing for this year, and I give some examples of what I feel personally I am stepping into more and what I'm being called to step into more. And this idea of becoming more of who we are. More of the real me. And the reason why I feel like this message is timely, as I record this, it is January 30th, 2026. And it's important because before we know it, it will be January 30th, 2027. And I believe that this year ahead of us is ripe, as every year is, but 2026, I think, is going to be particularly ripe with opportunities for us to step forward into what we are really called to do, why we're here, what our gifts are for, what all these talents are for, what brings us alive, what makes our hearts sing. This is a year. This is a really important year. Every year is a good year to do this work. But 2026, the sense I have is the time is now. The time is now. And this is what I mean. Some of you may not want to hear this message. You might not be ready for this message, or it's just not for you, which, again, you can skip past this one and go to something else that might serve you better. But I know, and I happen to look, I don't actually look at podcast stats very often, but I happened to do this yesterday because I needed to fill out a form for some other reason. And I just haven't looked on here in a long time. And we're nearing almost 50 different countries that this podcast has been listened to. And this is a baby podcast. Let me, tell you, right? It's not even maybe 4 months old. And so I went to bed last night thinking, there is a woman or women in Germany. I see you. In Kenya, I see you. in Brazil, in Belgium, in New Zealand, in Puerto Rico, in South Africa, in Portugal, in Sweden, in Italy, in Costa Rica, Singapore, Iceland, Bolivia, Pakistan, the Philippines, Australia. I really want to come visit. I see you. The Netherlands, and of course, the United States, my home country here, and many, many more. Japan, Croatia, Thailand. I mean, I need to sit with this because this is part of my own stepping into the fullness of what I feel like I'm meant to do. And my purpose, a big part of my purpose, is helping women step in fully to their purpose. And when I talk about flourishing and when I talk about a beautiful life, I just want to clarify, I am not aiming for a quote, beautiful life, just simply so I can enjoy a beautiful life. Although that is a beautiful thing. I love it when people are enjoying their lives, and I want people to enjoy their life. But I know that you will never truly enjoy your life and flourish in your life if you are not standing in your purpose and your calling. And that doesn't mean that you have one single purpose and calling per se, because you will have different iterations in your life. You will have different seasons of your life. You will be called to different versions of what that is. But you have, I think many of you would know or sense something deep inside of you that you are called to something. You are meant for something. You don't have these gifts and talents for just no particular reason. You are here. There's a reason you are here. There's a reason why you and I are alive right now in 2026 in this very interesting time. And so whether you are in Japan or whether you are in Russia or whether you are in the United Kingdom or the United States or Canada, you can look around you right now, wherever you are. And I know we all live in very different places and we have different circumstances, but every single one of us have certain things in common in our human experience. And that I know. And I feel very stirred up today. In fact, I thought maybe I wouldn't mention this, but I'm going to mention it. I'm wearing heels right now. I don't wear heels when I'm at home. I'm a barefoot kind of girl, especially spending as much time as I do now in Hawaii. Most of the time, I'm wearing no shoes or really comfortable shoes. I used to wear heels all the time. And I'm just saying, I'm in a heels moment as I speak to you right now, because I want for me even to feel the weight of what I'm saying. Not that I need heels to do that, but it's time. The time is now. The time is now. And some of you know that. Some of you got through 2025, and 2025 threw all sorts of things at you that you didn't know you were going to deal with, and you didn't know how you were going to deal with, and you dealt with it. And you're coming out the other side, and you're coming into 2026, and you know that there is more to the story in your life than what has transpired so far. And you are curious and you are open. I think the woman that I'm speaking to, yes, she's brilliant. Yes, she's creative. Yes, she has all these different gifts and things that she can do. And sometimes it can be confusing to even know, which one am I supposed to lean into? I'm good at lots of different things. It's a beautiful problem to have. And some of those things, like I spoke about last week, we set aside for different reasons, for seasons of our life. And sometimes it's a season where they're coming back around for a reason. And so I believe that 2026, some people are going to walk through this year, and you're going to walk in before you know it, blink, it's January 30th, 2027, and you're going to look at yourself and you're going to just be in awe of what you were able to do in 2026. And some of you are going to get to January 30th, 2027 and feel like it's Groundhog Day. I don't want you to feel that way. I don't want to feel that way. I personally do not want a year to go by and feel like it was just Groundhog Day. And you know what? A lot of bad things happen in the world. A lot of hard things happen in the world. A lot of hard things happen in my life, and I got through it. And I'm okay, but I haven't really stepped in higher and closer to my fullest expression of myself. That is what 2026 is needing from us. This world needs from us. And I wanted to be really careful in how I frame that, because I had this memory as I'm thinking of this at 4 a.m. I had this memory of when I was in my early 20s. I was starting graduate school. I was beginning a PhD program. Actually, I started in a different PhD program before I switched over to the doctoral program that I ended up fully completing. But the original doctoral program I was in, I did get my master's in it, but that was where I was specializing in giftedness. It was like a psychology program specializing in giftedness, which is pretty rare. It certainly was rare in 2001. And I remember so many people talking about, of course, the focus a lot was around gifted children and educational things like that. And there was this one perspective of, we want to support and help gifted individuals because the world needs what they have. They're going to be the leaders in the world. They are going to be the change makers in the world. They are going to be the ones that, discover the cure for cancer, right? All of these, their gifts are needed by the world. And it always rubbed me the wrong way. And I remember thinking and believing at the time, well, what if we just help them develop and have a good life because they're worthy, because they're a person, and for no other reason, not like we need them and we're extracting something from them, but that they just in themselves are worthy to be given what they needed, to give the educational things that they need, or to give the social, piece that they need, like just like any other human being. What if that was enough? What if that was a good enough goal? And I was thinking about this at 4 a.m. and thinking about what I wanted to say today. And I want to be very careful, because I don't feel called to work with gifted women just so the world can extract from you the gifts and talents that you have, because the world needs you. I think even as you hear me say that, probably many of you have some like resistance around that, right? Because you already feel like, oh, yeah, I do everything. And there can be some resistance around like, I need to do more. That's not what I'm implying. We live in a time right now, things are shifting. Again, whether your eyes are open to it or not, part of what I think this message is for me to say this today is like a shaking, a waking up. This is not a, let me pat you on the head and tell you it's all going to be okay and we're all going to be fine. Although I do think we're all going to be fine, but this is not that kind of message. This is a rally the troops. I got to rally the troops. We got to wake up. We got to see what is going on in our world and ask ourselves what, and like, I'm here for a reason. I'm here right now for a reason. What is my role? Some of you literally are artists. You have a particular role to play right now in 2026, a really important one, I believe. Some of you are leaders in government, in medicine, in education. Some of you are leaders of classrooms, of children. Some of you are moms leading in your home. You're leading somewhere. You have influence somewhere. Even if you look around right now and you feel like, well, I don't really feel like I'm that influential. You have a place and you have a purpose right where you are. The reason why I think it's important for us to step up higher into more of who we are and who we've been created to be and our purpose and our calling and et cetera, is because what I know is that now I understand that we cannot be self-actualization for the goal of just fulfilling our potential outside of the impact on other people will feel empty. And some of you may already have tasted this. You've climbed the corporate ladder. You went to the Ivy League schools, or you got straight A's, whatever it is. What you built the business. You made lots of money. You've done the thing. You did the thing that you decided when you were young you were going to do. You did it. And then you realized, why don't I feel totally fulfilled? Why don't I feel as happy as I thought I was going to feel? Why do I feel dissatisfied? Why do I feel restless? Why do I feel maybe even apathetic? Why am I asking some of you, what's the point? So those thoughts, that experience is part of the issue. And if we're not careful, we stop short of the fullness of really this journey that I believe is lifelong. It's lifelong. There's so much that we get to do. We get to do it. We get to do it. We don't have to. And you can choose not. You can opt out. But I don't think you will ever experience flourishing in the fullness of what I think of when I think of that word, if it is self-serving and it's just your goal. So let me talk a little bit about how I'd like to encourage you to think about this year. If you're hearing this and you're like, this is touching on something, I think this might be for me, I think I need to listen up, then listen up. And if you're like, I don't know, that's okay. You can hit pause. You can skip to another podcast. You have choice. That's what's most important here. You and I, we have full power to choose. We get to decide how we're going to do 2026. I want to encourage you, whether you're going to navigate 2026 on your own, or maybe you have a coach or someone or a mentor or someone in your life that can walk this journey with you. And even if you don't, even if this podcast plays some little role in that journey for you, and I hope it does, I want you to think bigger than sometimes we think. And what I mean by that is when I think about, I'll use myself as an example because I'm no different than you. When I think about common, we'll just call them goals, right? Or some people might say the resolutions, but I tend to set some goals for the year. And I have done that. And I'm sure you probably have too, even if it's just one main thing that you want to do. I want you to think in the big picture. I want you to step back and ask yourself, why does this matter? You might know, but sometimes we don't really stop and think about it. So for example, I think a lot of women will set goals or resolutions around, I want to lose X amount of pounds this year. Some of you who are entrepreneurs or even outside of entrepreneurship, just you have a career goal or you have an income goal or revenue goal. I want to make X amount of money this year. I want to, fill in the blank. And it's not that these goals are bad. It's not that there's anything wrong with the goal. I mean, we can have whatever goals we want. It's our life. But I am guessing that if you peel back a layer or two from that goal, whatever it is, There is a feeling that is attached to that desire and that goal, that end goal that you want. You want the feeling that you think is going to come with achieving that goal. So maybe you want to lose X amount of pounds because you will feel happy, content, proud, at peace. I'm just throwing things out there. You have your own reasons. Same thing with a money goal. The same thing with maybe it's I'm going to run a marathon this year. Maybe it's like, well, I want to run a marathon because I'm challenging myself in the health area and I want to get healthier. And okay, but why? And this isn't just a circular question or like a never-ending question of why. It's actually to realize that, again, the goal itself is not bad, but I want you right now to look at your life that you have right now and everything that you have, whether maybe you're married, maybe you have kids, maybe you have a job, maybe you have a business, maybe you live in a particular area. There's a lot of different examples right now, but I want you to look at your life right now and what is something that you currently have that you once dreamed about, set a goal for. Maybe it was you dreamed one day that you'd go to college and get a college degree and then you did. Or maybe it was you dreamed that you'd go to medical school and then you did. Or maybe you dreamed that you would one day be able to buy a house and then you did. These are the goals. And I want you to ask yourself, and maybe you have many you can think of right now. Maybe you wanted to have kids. You have kids. Maybe you got 3 kids. Maybe you wanted to get married and you got married. Think of all the things. And maybe when you got those things immediately at the beginning, you were happy or you were proud. But I think a lot of people would admit that if they're being honest, the way that they feel in their life right now is less than happy or less than all that pride or less than. It's not the fullness. It's not a full appreciation all the time. It's maybe even frustration at the very thing that you dreamed of and wanted. It's frustration at the house that needs this and that repair. It's frustration at the husband that is acting a certain way. It's exhaustion and frustration at the kids on particular days and moments, right? It's because this is life. This is our human experience. And the only reason why I'm bringing that up, it's not to depress you or make you feel bad, because it is a part of our common human experience. But I just want you to see that whatever goal you have set for 2026, if you reach it, which will be wonderful, you will likely revert back to this set point that you have in your life right now, of how you feel in your life right now. Because the reaching of the goal we think is going to get us closer to the happiness and the joy and the peace and the aliveness that we want. And we just keep coming up with more goals and more things to achieve and more experiences to have. And again, none of those things are necessarily bad, but they can be a trap if we just keep thinking, oh, well, this will be the thing. Oh, no, it wasn't fully that because I lost the weight, but now I'm still dissatisfied. So it must be this other thing I'll focus on. It's a never ending, it's a treadmill. It's the treadmill. You just keep going and going and you never arrive. So my work that I do with women is not necessarily around how to help you achieve the big goal. But when you do the work, I don't even like calling it work because it's actually, if done in the right spirit and approach, I don't know if I would call it work. Everyone talks about in the personal development space, you do the work, you got to do the work. And I understand. I understand that phrasing. But it's like saying a tree that blossoms in the spring, bears fruit in the summer, and sheds its leaves in the fall, and has its roots go deep in the winter is working to do that. It's not really working. It's allowing, because the tree has been created to do that. That's the beautiful natural process for the tree. The tree doesn't really have to work at it. And the same thing is true for us if we're coming at it in the right way. And that's not to say there aren't tears, and that's not to say that it can be challenging at times, but I see it differently. I approach this personal growth in a different kind of way, I guess you could say. So, yeah, this is a rallying cry. If this is you, wherever you may be in the world, there are people around you right now. There's a community, there's a city, there's a country, there's a world that is longing for what it is that you bring to the table. And you know deep down inside whether you are doing that or not. When you are doing that, and you have other things in your life, the boundaries and all the things, you're not overworking. When you're really in your sweet spot, you will flourish. Just like that tree, it's not working to do it. And it takes time to contemplate some of these things. We can't be rushing around in our life on autopilot, every day waking up and doing the same thing, and expect 2026 is going to be any different than any other year. There are some of you right now, and if you're not careful, you can get to a point where you're sort of like sick of yourself. And you're like, gosh, I want my life to be different. I need to change. I get that. I have been right there. But that is not the energy. That is not the approach you want to bring into this process, that you're just sick of yourself. There's a different way. There's a beautiful way. There is a way to reorient. And I can tell you, this is the thing that's so exciting to me. There are going to be women this year, and I pray to God that I will be able to count myself in this camp in 2020 by 2027, that will travel a long distance in 2026. What do I mean? Our relationship to time is very interesting, and my relationship to time is like a whole interesting story. But we think of time as, sort of like just normal linear time. It goes in one direction. We can measure it with the clock. It is what it is. We got 365 days. We all, that saying, all of us, we have the same amount of time. That's true in a certain sense. But it's also true that some of us will be able to bend time. It is true that for some of us, we are going to collapse time. And what I mean by that is, in the same 365 days that other people have, you are going to travel a further distance psychologically. It's that internal journey. You are going to become more of who you are, and you are going to go from point A, where you are today, to point B, and someone else in the same amount of time is not going to move very far. And again, they're going to wake up, and it'll be January 2027, and they're going to look at themselves, and they're going to feel exactly the same. And if they're not careful, the years will go by and a whole lifetime will go by. I personally have spent my life traveling distance. And I mean psychologically. Psychologically going from point A to the next point, I've been doing this so long. If some of you have met me even 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, even 2 months ago, I'm changing. Things are happening inside. Things are happening. I think sometimes we get maybe frustrated. Again, I've been here, but we get confused with distance traveled based on what other people could see. That's not what I'm talking about. Now, when you travel a great distance, when you bend time, when you do the things on the inside that get you closer to who you fully are and who you were created to be from the beginning, and you shed the things that are not you, there is an overflow and there is a ripple effect that the outer world will at some point see. It will ripple forward. You don't have to necessarily try to orchestrate it. It just will happen. It's just what happens. The work is the internal, right? The inside out. It's the transformational piece. I am not here look, there's a million podcasts out there. There's a bazillion coaches. There are mental health professionals. There are this and that. There are a lot of us out there doing our thing. So I just wanted to clarify, not that this episode is about this necessarily, but I do want to clarify what I don't do at this stage of my career. I started off as a therapist. A beautiful job. I wanted to be a therapist since I was a teenager. I wanted to help heal people, and that healer in me is still there. But sometimes, not every therapist, so I want to be very careful about this, but sometimes what happens is that when people come into therapy, the way our system and our language even is set up is that I have a problem, or I have a problem that's something is wrong with me, and I need to get it fixed. Like, I need to go in and there's just something wrong with me, or there's something wrong in my life and I'm having a hard time. And so I need the therapist to help me fix me, or I need the psychiatrist to give me the medication to fix me. And again, there is a time and place for those things, but I am not operating from that paradigm. So, what is the paradigm I am operating from? I've said this on previous episodes, but I'm just repeating it here in case you haven't heard that, and in line with what I'm talking about for 2026. As soon as you realize you are not broken, as soon as you reclaim the truth about you, the sooner you step into the power and the fullness and everything that you already have at your disposal. You do not need to be in therapy for 10 years. I know that my words could be taken out of context. So I don't want anyone to think, oh, well, I'm taking this medication, or I have been in therapy for 10 years, or whatever it is. Please don't misunderstand. There's no shame in being in a place where that is what you feel you need at that moment. I certainly have availed myself to therapy in earlier stages of my life. But there comes a time when a woman realizes or senses or has this knowing deep inside of her that she actually knows She doesn't need to go to a quote unquote expert for them to tell her. She realizes that she has wisdom within her, and she may not fully know how to trust it. She may not know how to fully tap into it all the time. She may be feeling a little wobbly in it. And maybe she's like, I want to grow in this. I want to step in fully, more fully. I want to use a psychological term, self-actualize. And I need help to do that, but I'm not outsourcing my power to someone else to do it for me, to save me. There's not another human that is going to save you. I told you that this was a different kind of episode. Some of you are like, I'm 36 minutes in. I'm going to wrap it up. This is the time. Not from a place of fear. It's always an invitation. It's always an invitation. God, love, whatever, however you want to describe, works by invitation. And you know you're being invited when you feel the pull. You know there's an invitation when you can't even maybe fully explain why. And you probably don't even understand what's going to happen. And you might be a little nervous about that. And you might even have this little inkling, ever so small, that has been there for a while, of something that you believe you're meant to do, and you haven't done it yet. I pray that this message reaches, even if it's one woman right now, today, that needs to hear this, to have the courage to step in fully in 2026 and lift her eyes to the greater thing that she is meant to do this year, that is bigger than losing 10 pounds or making X amount of money or getting that particular house. Again, not that any of those things are wrong, but if we stay focused and our eyes and our attention and our energy is fixated on those things, we're gonna be disappointed, I think. And we're gonna walk into 2027 knowing there was something else. There was something bigger. And let me tell you, when we go for the bigger thing, somehow those other things, I don't want to oversimplify it, but when we start investing in ourselves in a certain area, it becomes difficult to not just do that across the board. So sometimes if you have the goal of, because again, I don't want to diminish anyone's New Year's resolutions or goals around these things, because again, I've set goals myself. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just like, have the awareness that there's something bigger going on right now. There's something bigger happening. And it's not a coincidence. It's not even a coincidence that you're listening to my voice right now. For whatever reason, you felt drawn to, of all the episodes in the world that you could listen to, you're listening to this, and you're still listening because there's something in you that knows this is true. And if you're paying attention, you know that this is the time. And let's not dilly-dally, ladies. This is not a time to get distracted. This is not a time to get focused on the wrong things. This is the time that we have a window of time. And pretty soon, we don't know what 2027 is going to bring. We don't know what 2028 is going to bring. I want us to be prepared. I want to be prepared. I want to help you be prepared. I'm probably, who knows? I was not planning on recording this today, but I can feel it. It's time. It's time. This is the message. So who knows what my messages are going to be for the rest of this month and into 2026. I love a good plan, but I feel like recently it's like, God's like, throw that one out the window or come back to it in 4 months. This is what you need to deliver right now. So I am just going with it. I hope that you heard the heart of my message today, and I hope it's stirring you up in a good way. I hope that you feel hopeful and inspired because you are not alone. You are not alone. You're not alone in feeling this way. And I hope that you come back for more episodes where I'll be sharing, I am sure, along the journey of 2026 and what I'm feeling personally called to do and what that looks like. And so many exciting things that we don't know. But aren't we glad that we are fully equipped and we were made for this moment? We are made for this moment. So we are fully equipped if we just know exactly we're in the right place at the right time, connected with the right people, doing what we're supposed to be doing. That is the beautiful, beautiful sweet spot. That's what I want for each and every one of you. That is what I hope for myself this year. And yeah, I really do pray that this gives you hope and vision for the year and doesn't just make you feel pressured. That's not my intention whatsoever. So I think I'm just going to wrap it up right there. Maybe there'll be a part 2 next week. We'll see. We'll see what comes through. But if you haven't, I want to say, if you have not yet joined and signed up for my weekly sanctuary letters, I want to just briefly encourage you. There's a link in the show notes. You can just click on it and it's super easy. Sign up. You will get on the email list where I usually just share, there's just a little bit more what's going on behind the scenes in my day-to-day life, week to week, little gems here and there, and also just encouragement beyond this podcast, of course. But I feel like the women who really resonate with my message and they're like, she's speaking to me. This woman is speaking straight to me. She's got my number. I love that. At least on the email list right now, I'm building that community. And I think in 2026, some of you have already been asking. I do feel like there's coming a time where we will need to find ways to connect beyond just me speaking on the mic and sending out emails. So we'll see what that could look like. And honestly, if any of you have ideas of what you would love to connect with other gifted women all over the world, please feel free to email me. All of my information or DM me on Instagram. All of that information is in the show notes. So with that, with my very unstructured episode today, I hope that this lights you on fire. I'm going to go kick off my heels and go have a little cup of coffee, get on with this beautiful day. But I wish the very best for you. I want you to know that it is such a deep, deep privilege to know that simply by me sharing my experience and my wisdom on this mic, that women all over the world who need to hear this, who feel seen in this, that this can happen like this. It's just amazing to me because this has been my heart and my own calling on my life for so long. And a lot of the work that I did in the past was pretty quiet behind the scenes. So it really is a privilege. And I love hearing from you. I love it. So please don't be shy. Say hello. Send me a message. I always respond. And until next week, my love, keep flourishing. Thank you for listening to the Power to Flourish podcast. I hope today's conversation left you feeling more seen, more supported, and more deeply connected to yourself. And if this episode resonated, would you take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a friend? It's one of the best ways to help this work reach the women who need it most. You'll find show notes, links, and resources from today's episode at powertoflourish.com. And now just a quick reminder, this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It's not therapy, medical advice, or a substitute for professional support. And listening doesn't make me your therapist or doctor, though if you're looking for a coach, you know where to find me. All right, beautiful one, that's it for now. Until next time, trust yourself, honor your gifts, and keep flourishing.